What is going on, football fans? Back at it with another New York Giants video, and in this video, I wanted to talk about the quotes that came out by John Mara, and it's all over the place about what he said about the quarterback position regarding Eli Manning and, of course, Daniel Jones. Eli Manning has manned this position since 2004. And yeah, he had that little hiccup where we started Geno Smith, but other than that, he has started every game. And when that took place, you saw what Mara did. He stepped in and said, no, Eli's going to start the rest of the season when he saw how the fan base reacted. And yeah, like I said, Eli's had some ups and downs, but the ups have been miraculous. He's won 2 Super Bowl rings. We know he's 38 years old, and we know he's going to be replaced sooner than later. Gettleman went out this year and, of course, took Daniel Jones with the 6th overall selection, furthering the speculation that Eli will probably be replaced at some point this year. Or if not this year, definitely next year. And John Mara came out and he backed up his quarterback. And if you go ahead and look at the course of history with John Mara, he has always been a very loyal owner, whether it is to players, whether it is to coaches, general managers, whatever. It is very rare that the New York Giants fire a coach, after the first couple of years. McAdoo was the exception because of how he handled Eli Manning, probably, and because of how he handled the media. The Giants, of course, had a 3-win season, but that was not all Ben McAdoo's fault. The team had a ton of injuries. His rookie year, they won 11-5. But before that, extremely loyal to Coughlin, extremely loyal to Jim Fossil. You go down the list. The Giants have always been a very stable organization. And that's what he's doing here, in my opinion, with Eli Manning. Now, some people are going to read this like he hopes Daniel Jones doesn't succeed. He hopes Daniel Jones never sees the field. That's not how I read it. And we're going to take a look at the quotes right now. The first telling quote when he was talking about Eli Manning was, "I hope Eli has a great year and Daniel never sees the field. That would be an ideal world," Mara said. You'd like to see that. Again, at the end of the day, it's going to be a decision by the head coach as to when or if Daniel ends up playing this year. And like I said, some people are going to read that a certain way, and the media wants you to read it that way. But in my opinion, the way I read this quote was, think about it logically, guys. If Eli Manning remains the quarterback this year, that means the Giants are well within playoff contention, and they're having a great year. So that's what he says, in my opinion, when John Mara says, I hope Eli has a great year and Daniel never sees the field. If Daniel never sees the field, the Giants are going to the playoffs, or at least they're going to be, in contention up until the last week of the season. I think it could do Daniel Jones some good being on the bench this year. Look at the Kansas City Chiefs with Pat Mahomes under Alex Smith. Of course, that was a very competitive football team. I believe they went 11-5. If it was the same situation here where they're winning 9, 10, 11 games, I'd expect the same. Now, are the Giants going to do that? That remains to be seen. They've only won 8 games in the last 2 years, and it may be a little, maybe hoping for something that's not really there if you really think this team's going to win 10 or 11 games this year. I hope they do. I think it's possible, but a lot of things will have to break right. But if they break right, I agree with Mara. It would be great to see Eli start the whole year. That means we're going to the playoffs, guys. And then the next quote I wanted to bring up was, when asked about Daniel Jones, he backed him up. Mara said, so far, so good. He's everything that we thought he would be. He's been terrific on the practice field. He did a good job the other night, he said. I think people need to temper their enthusiasm a little bit. It's one preseason game, one series, but so far, so good. So, nothing bad here either. He said that he's been everything they've expected. We've heard all the great reports of how he's performed on the practice field. He's been one of the first guys in, one of the last guys out. A little bit of a roller coaster in terms of training camp, but overall, he's had a good, strong training camp. He had a great mandatory minicamp, and of course, a perfect series. But I have nothing against what he says here. This is not a negative quote when he says that people need to temper their enthusiasm a little bit. It's one preseason game, one series. At the end of the day, it was 5 throws. It was 5 great throws, but it was only 5 throws. Any quarterback who's ever played the sport could have 5 great throws. So, I agree with him. We need to temper our expectations a little bit. Let's see how Daniel Jones does when he plays against the ones, when he gets his feet thrown in the fire, if he plays this year or the next year. But encouraging stuff nonetheless from Jones, and that is basically what Mara's saying here. And I don't think that there's anything wrong from what Mara said. I think he's backing up his team. I think he's backing up Eli Manning. And all he's saying to you guys is, I hope that we have a great year. Because if we have a great year, Eli Manning will be the man behind center. And hopefully we do. Eli Manning has looked really good in camp. I recognize he's 38 years old. I recognize he's looked good in camp before. I think he's looked great in this one. And I think he's motivated. He came in trim. He's throwing a good deep ball. He worked out with Al Leiter in the offseason. And we're going to see how it all plays out, week 1, week 2, week 3, as we get into the season. Now, am I going to call for Eli's job if he has a bad game week 1? No. They're playing one of the best defenses in football. We have to be realistic here. We have to give Eli a chance and hope the Giants make the playoffs. Because if we want to make the playoffs this year, guys, Eli Manning is going to be the quarterback. And that's basically what it comes down to. If the Giants fall out of it, you're going to see Daniel Jones sooner than later. But I'd like to get your guys' thoughts in the comments below. Let me know what you think about the quotes and what you think about the quarterback situation going forward. As always, if you liked what you watched, please subscribe, drop a comment, maybe give me a little thumbs up. Cheers.